really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
Really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, welcome to this special episode of the Degen Roundtable Whiskey Wednesday, where we're going to be interviewing Mr. YellowCake, talking about a really cool new project he has made. The TLDR of it is that we're basically, he's basically got a small version of what MicroStrategy does, but it's all on-chain and it's all run by DAO, and it's super cool and awesome. Joining me tonight, we have YellowCake, the man, the myth, the legend himself, and we also have my amigo, Mr. Brendan, the anonymous bean. Gentlemen, it's good to see you. Brendan, how are you doing, broski? What's new and exciting with you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy to be back on. Two streams in a row. And, got a lot to learn tonight. For me, day before Thanksgiving, and a lot of work going into that. So I have my wife's brother and his wife and one of their friends coming over, and they're all from Colombia. So they haven't had a lot of Thanksgiving meals. So I'm feeling a little bit more stressed than normal, trying to make sure that everything's perfect. But we got the turkey downstairs, defrosting. I got the mac and cheese made. We got the potatoes all cut, ready to be cooked tomorrow. We got all the parsley, thyme, rosemary for the herb butter for the turkey, all cut and chopped. My wife is doing a good job helping there. But yeah, man, just going to be a long day of cooking, and then a long afternoon, evening of eating and drinking. So looking forward to it. It's always a good time to have a couple of days off and spend time with family. And so I hope that everybody gets to do that, except even my Canadian friends. I hope you enjoy the American Thanksgiving. At least from a standpoint from the heart.
Most excellent. Yes. And with that, welcome YellowCake, the man, the myth, the legend, the special guest for tonight. What's new and exciting with you, broski? How have you been? It's been a while since we've had you on the show. I think last we had you was with Fast Abdul when you guys were launching the not the Bryberry, but the two fucks.
Yeah. It's been a minute for sure. A lot of time has passed. A lot of things have happened. Both in Hexaco and in real life. It's, time keeps going forward, and, in crypto land, it's like 5X, right? It's 2 months might as well be, 5 years. It's fast paced, but I've been keeping up.
Hell yeah, broski. We used to have long, luscious locks before our crypto journey, and time and stress has taken those away from us. It's been a long, man. I feel like what is it? Like we age in dog years. It's 1 year in crypto is 7 years in real life and everything. But I hear that you've got a cool new thing that you've been building up. Would you care to tell the folks a little bit about it?
Yeah, I was just going to comment. I was going to thank for commenting on that turkey was defrosting, because you never know what people's first Thanksgiving. Maybe they got a live turkey kicking around downstairs and ready to process. So, but yeah, no, so I've been a builder in this space for a long time, and my CryptoPest is kind of decorated with all kinds of things, from mining to trading is my primary prerogative. Earlier this year, I was working on an AI vault, that agentic AI vault that was going really, really well until that famous day in January, and then it didn't. And I was building these agents to control different parts of my algorithm, and it was going really well. And anyways, I kind of blew that up. It was an expensive lesson in learning. But one of the things that had remained from my whole journey in crypto was, one of the things that Michael Saylor had kind of inspired me many years ago, when I heard him talking about how, when somebody back in the day, these developers own a block of New York City, and it was something that they would pass down to their family and hold. And when you needed money, you didn't just start selling off chunks of this land, right? You would collateralize it and you'd borrow against it. And you don't pay tax on this borrowed money. Like essentially you're living, with revenue that's tax free. And I thought, wow, what an amazing idea. And when Pulse Chain came around and there was liquid loans, I thought this was going to be the perfect storm. Like I had a huge allocation in Pulse Chain, and I thought, well, this is it. This is my golden goose. I'm going to collateralize it. And, we all know how the history went there. Not quite as planned, but I'd always been in love with this idea of having, an accrued asset that would appreciate against dollars, just like land or Bitcoin, and not ever having to sell that. Right. So I have a corporation, and one of the things that was tough to conceptualize how to do this was because MicroStrategy always had a large cash flow, which allowed them, like they had a business underneath. A lot of people maybe don't know this, but they had a cash flow which originally allowed them to buy, a good chunk of Bitcoin, and kind of keep moving, right? Start this machine or this engine that we all know now as Strategy Inc. So the inspiration for this project was really a collection of my whole experience in crypto, and then being able to problem solve for how do I do this, right? I wanted to do this on chain, but there was always a couple of 2 or 3 problems I needed to solve, right? And they were always a little bit in the distance. But over time and perseverance, I've managed to piece these together and come up with a model that is very exciting. So, did you want to go about this in a certain way, or did you want me to just?
Yes, that's a great elevator pitch, and that's a good place to start. Before we hop into the super crazy technical details about everything, now that we've given the audience a little bit of a teaser, it's time to recognize the audience for hanging out with us. That's right, guys. You heard it. It's time for chat motherfucking shoutouts. We're gonna go ahead and shout out the folks in the chat that were cool enough to come and hang out with us. By the way, you guys can check the show out on YouTube. You can check it out live on Twitter. I see that you've hijacked Mr. Fast Abdul's Twitter account for posting. So that's awesome. Shout out to all of our viewers out there, whether you guys are watching us on YouTube or Twitter. Y'all are awesome, and we love the chat. So first and foremost, we've got from YellowCake himself. It's basically a Bitcoin. It's the Bitcoin strategy. The fixed supply token backed by a Bitcoin treasury with NAV as the anchor and mechanics that expand Bitcoin per token. The full walkthrough is happening right now, so this is where you guys got to drop questions. Shout out to you, good sir. You are the first one in the chats with us today. We then got my brother in here saying, "Let's go." Good to see you, Sam. Welcome to the stream. Glad that we could have you. Shout out to my dearest brother, just a little bit south of me. I'm going to be hanging out with him for Thanksgiving. We're also joined by Vets in Crypto, who says, "YellowCake, what's good, brother? Yes, you have continued to keep yourself busy. Good man." And then Degen Crew, top of the evening, gents and lady. We don't have any ladies with us tonight, but happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Would like an opportunity one day to come on the show and explain about the Hero Protocol. Yes, come on, broski. Every Wednesday we do Whiskey Wednesdays, and we interview people. So hit me up, Vets, any Wednesday. We are free, good sir. Oh, and also he wants to explain what's going on with his 501c3 Vic Foundation and how they intertwine and everything. So make sure that you guys are liking and sharing the video. Abso-fucking-lutely. We're also joined by my good buddy, Mr. Josh, Mr. Slide 180. Good to see you, sir. Cheers to you, amigo. And glad we could have you with us as well. We've also got a person commenting from X. This is the pulsearmy.com. They have reposted this stream. That's awesome. And we're also joined by Luna C. Point, who says, "Hello, gang." Hello to you too, Luna. Welcome to the stream. So now that we've got the chat shoutouts out of the way, and we've got the general idea for what is this product, can you we've teased the audience a little bit by talking about that this is sort of kind of a similar thing to what MicroStrategy does. Can we reverse a little bit and sort of explain for the folks at home who might not know what MicroStrategy is or what they do? Can you kind of explain what their actual strategy is and how they do investing and how they bring money into the market.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue, because a lot of people, you talk about it, they've heard about maybe Michael Saylor or this, that a lot of people have misconceptions of Michael Saylor is close to liquidation and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, essentially, Michael Saylor started a data mining company, essentially, like now they're more into analytics software, as they call it, but we all know that they were a data mining they were like one of the first companies to basically capitalize on this market right before anybody knew it was happening. So they had a very successful treasury, and they're sitting on a lot of cash. And then Michael Saylor was kind of gray-haired guy that heard about Bitcoin, not like Peter Schiff, but that he decided to buy some. But then he realized, well, he was quick to learn that against the dollar, owning anything that isn't dollars was good, right? And land or Bitcoin, and he jumped on the Bitcoin train, used their treasury of, I'm not sure what it was at the time, like 450 million or something, bought a bunch of Bitcoin. His first acquisition was pretty low. I don't know if it was 12K or what the first price was they started acquiring, but essentially what began to happen was they instead of sitting on cash on their asset book, their market cap started going up as Bitcoin price rose. And then Saylor was a smart businessman that started to use every lever he could touch to basically collateralize debt and buy more Bitcoin. So really what they become is a Bitcoin treasury company, where the key performance indicator is how much Bitcoin per share, there is. So like essentially the stock price, the users can't redeem the stock directly for Bitcoin, but there's this trust relationship that Saylor had very early on. He was able to go to Wall Street with this model because he had a successful business and presented this idea, and people started to buy into it. And so, he had offered things like convertible bonds and different types of preferred stock and equity to basically acquire more and more Bitcoin over time. And so Bitcoin per share grew, but also there was something they call the premium, like they call it. So the net asset value is what you would call when you have, your, say, the amount of Bitcoin divided by the amount of shares, and you could tell how many Bitcoin per share, for example. But sometimes things traded at a premium, people were paying more than they should. And Michael Saylor used that as an opportunity to sell some of the stock into that. And what he did was he acquired more Bitcoin. So it wasn't just, it was increasing the net asset value per share. So the users weren't getting dumped on or sold on. Instead, they were just, the company was acquiring more and more Bitcoin. And so this is kind of in a nutshell how the Saylor strategy works. And what a lot of companies you find are doing now are copying this model, like a lot of corporations and such are copying this treasury model. So that's kind of in a nutshell how MicroStrategy works. I'll just
Okay, excellent. So the thing that you're building is ran by a decentralized autonomous organization. So a whole bunch of people get together, or entities on the blockchain get together, and they vote for governance. They essentially do the same thing as what happens with MicroStrategy.
Yeah. So correct. So we're building a decentralized autonomous organization that runs this basically governs the small levers that there are to control, the choices for this treasury. So we're building basically what MicroStrategy does on chain, and the way that happens is to mimic the growth of, like I said, the key performance indicator is how much Bitcoin per share. In this case, there's a limited amount of tokens that represent the treasury. So in the initial state, the treasury is empty, and there's going to be 50 million tokens minted that represent that. So let's just put something in the treasury so we have a net asset value per token. So, you have one Bitcoin in there, and 50 million tokens, and then you can divide it and find out the net asset value per token. And so the way that this grows and accrues Bitcoin is kind of interesting and mirrors the MicroStrategy model in that there's a couple of main avenues that this protocol uses. And one of them in the early stages, I don't know if anybody was around during the Ohm forks and the bonding era. It might be something that's not familiar if you hadn't been around for a couple of cycles. But essentially, what they did was they offered this bond like a discount to NAV, to net asset value. So now there's a little bit of Bitcoin in the treasury, and there's tokens, small liquidity pool. There's a liquidity pool where this token can be traded on the market. It also theoretically can be redeemed against the Bitcoin in the vault, but because you want to keep growing this vault, the same way in MicroStrategy you can't redeem the shares for Bitcoin, that's not going to fly on the blockchain. There has to be, theoretical redeemability, right? For the trust factor, for optics, for this whole thing to work. So there is that redeemability factor, but it's disincentivized and it's controlled. So you don't have runs on the vault or runs on the bank. And so in the early phases, what's going to happen is these bonding phases will open up where there's going to be an offering of a discount to the net asset value. So if the token's trading at $8, for example, you might be offered, depending on each bond series will have its own parameters, so its own discount and its own terms. So this will vest over a period of time, and your discount will be proportionate to how long the vesting is. So let's just say, for example, you get a 10% discount now, but you got to wait 6 months, for example. But right away, what happens is that protocol gets those funds and it acquires more Bitcoin, raising the net asset value for everybody right off the bat. In the meantime, the person that received the bond, slowly as they invest day by day, it's a linear invest. They have access to their tokens, and they can either do things with them. They could take some profits by selling in the liquidity pool, or they can do other things with them. But essentially, what happens is that this protocol begins this accrual engine. In the same way that MicroStrategy, as I'm mentioning, has their net asset value divided by their shares, but they have something they call MNAV, which is essentially how much of a premium their shares are trading over the market value of their Bitcoin, right? So if you have their treasury full of Bitcoin and you have their market cap and you divide it, and all of a sudden people are willing to pay twice as much for that. And why is that? Well, people are paying for not just that underlying Bitcoin in the treasury, they're paying for the strategy, they're paying for the management, they're paying for this machine that continually acquires more Bitcoin, right? So that's the reason why people were willing to pay more than the backing, the Bitcoin backing. People said, well, that's stupid. Why are people buying this share when they could just hold the Bitcoin, right? But you're not just buying Bitcoin, you're buying something that accrues more and more Bitcoin over time. So the way that Bitcoin strategy is mimicking this is the one method, like the bootstrap method, using these bonds.
That's the name of your thing, right? Is Bitcoin strategy? Yeah. Okay.
We might pivot on the name, but essentially that's kind of what we're sticking with right now. It's very simple. Bitcoin strategy by MSTRX, but we're just discussing the token name right now. The DAO will kind of decide what we'll want to fly with. But essentially the bonding phase is the early bootstrapping phase. And because if you think about it, in the early point, when the treasury is kind of empty or low, you essentially can buy these tokens for free or get them for free. But by owning some, you own all the future growth of the treasury and all these bonding events. But then there's also these premium sales. So later on, as the price of the treasury growth increases and the price of the token increases, what the protocol does has an option, and it does automatically, it'll sell some premium sales. So the same way Michael Saylor would issue new stock and he would buy new Bitcoin with it. So if the token price is trading too much of a premium, like say twice or three times net asset value, then the protocol can sell a controlled amount into there and immediately acquire new Bitcoin with it. Again, raising the net asset value for everybody. So there's two mechanisms in of themselves are are two important revenue streams to keep accruing Bitcoin per token as they represent. And then there's additional revenue streams that'll be able to pour into this, and because that was one of the things that the problems I'd always been trying to solve for, because in and of itself, it maybe wasn't enough or exciting enough to have continuation or to be sustainable, even though this model essentially is. Because when the price goes below net asset value, say people were getting bored, the market was depressed, like even MicroStrategy right now is trading for the first time in quite a while below parity, like below their net asset value. Their MNAV, as they call it, is below 1, meaning that it's trading below the value of the Bitcoin in their treasury. And the reason why value investors might come along at this point in time and buy up is because you're not just buying that Bitcoin that it represents in the treasury. You're buying, like I said, that machine. You're buying that future bonds and sales that accrue this Bitcoin. So you begin to have this asymmetrical advantage if you come in as a value investor at the bottom and scoop these up, right? So this is where it starts to get exciting, because buying MicroStrategy now at fair value is kind of like buying Bitcoin, and is that they're a good company, a good model, they're going to continue accruing. But bootstrapping and starting a treasury from scratch is pretty exciting, because you have a lot of momentum ahead of you that you can build on. So I'm really excited for this launch, and we're right in the phase of bootstrapping the DAO. So we need some good people to come and make sure only smart things get passed in the beginning, and yeah.
That's where we come in. Is we do the advertising and we do the talking about it. So the long and short of it, for the fellow peanut brain diamond hands out there, such as myself, is that the money goes into the treasury buys the asset under X, Y, and Z conditions. When you said the MNAV is at a certain ratio or something,
at a premium, yeah. So it always has to be NAV accretive, meaning that there has to be a benefit to everybody for the treasury to sell these. So if there's preset factors, you don't want to sell the farm too early, right? So that's why the bonding phases in the early stages will be more important. And then as the asset value increases, the protocol can sell little bits of it into the the premium over NAV, and then acquire more Bitcoin, raising the NAV for everybody. So all you have to do as a holder is just hold your token. You don't have to think. You don't have to think about management choices, about decisions. There's really, the simplicity of it is incredible, because what happens in a more complex system is you have all these choices to make about Bitcoin prices going up, Bitcoin prices going down. What do I do? Like, how do I hedge? And this is all taken care of in the design, in the model. So it's really an elegant, simple model to comprehend.
So what happens when people sell this? Because it's a different token than Bitcoin itself. Just like MicroStrategy, it's people are buying the MicroStrategy stock. They're not buying the actual Bitcoin. With the understanding that MicroStrategy goes and buys the Bitcoin and then does the thing and then regurgitates profits back somewhere somehow. Correct? Yeah.
So sorry, what was your question?
So the question is, what happens when people sell the asset? Right, the thing that's not Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
The price of that thing goes down. Is like how does that tie into the what the DAO does and the purchasing of the Bitcoin and all that?
Yeah. So basically, the DAO, like I said, there is a redeemability mechanism. So, for example, I had a question earlier today. Somebody said, "Well, what if like Black Swan event, people are selling and there just isn't enough liquidity? What happens? There's a treasury sells some Bitcoin, and it's not in a position to do that. Like it's essentially what the redemption mechanism is, like a safety valve. It's not meant as your main exit. So the liquidity pool that's paired with a stable coin was to be the main way that people would be encouraged to enter and exit the system. So if people are selling it down, it's undervalued, there is an opportunity for the protocol to do a buyback too, because it knows it's going to sell it when it's trading above premium. But essentially what happens is that provides an opportunity for value investors, because when you think about the price of this token, you're not thinking about like just, you need to think about it. The correct way to think about it is, price per net asset value. So like how much Bitcoin is backing that token. And if it's at a discount, there becomes a point where you could just arbitrage it, right? If the price was too low, then somebody's going to buy it because they know they can redeem it, right? And so there are penalties and like disincentive. Well, there's a mechanism to redeem. So you basically would lock or stake your tokens to earn kind of the similar idea of Bitcoin days. Do you know what that concept is? Like Bitcoin days is like, they know where a certain amount of Bitcoin sat in a wallet for a certain amount of time, then it earns this kind of credit where it's like, it hasn't moved, it's got, so basically you can earn sort of, redemption credits by taking certain actions that'll benefit you. But there is a quadratic redemption formula that protects the treasury. And that's like, so big whales couldn't come in and just, arbitrage away the treasury kind of thing. So there's some mechanics that are designed to protect the treasury and protect the users, but also allow for ways to unwind if somebody wants to do so. But the motivation is that when, like I said, when the price is trading below net asset value, there becomes a point in time where it becomes really, really juicy for value investors to come in and snatch it up. Because like I said, you're not just buying the Bitcoin that it represents at a discount. You're buying the future bonds, the future premiums, like the future accrual of the Bitcoin that represents. So there'll only ever be 50 million tokens, but it's not inflationary. It's the net asset value per token is only going up. It's always going up. So
that was my question. I was curious about how the tokenomics were going to work. So 50 million set, never to increase, and so it makes sense, because if you get in early, before the price is really set, or I don't want to say pegged to Bitcoin, because obviously, like you said, the MNAV can go up or down below, but it gives you an opportunity to buy into Bitcoin with an opportunity for your coins to continue to rise as the treasury continues to accumulate as much as possible. Now, I assume there are you said some disincentivized features. So is there, are there costs to buy and sell the tokens?
No. So there was one point I wanted to make though. Yeah. So
any fees, I guess is what I'm trying to ask for.
Yeah. So I want to touch on that tokenomics when at one point, because I forgot about that. But so the liquidity pool itself, I mean, there's no tax or anything like that. It kind of makes sense to have maybe a premium trading fee, because it really goes to the protocol and the liquidity pool. But no, it's as simple as you can imagine, just trading a token in any other liquidity pool. The mechanics of arbitrage are a little bit more complex because of as I was mentioning, because of some of the mechanics for redeemability. But that's what the main goal was, to build and grow this treasury, right? And over time, there becomes a point in time where, I'll touch on the security factor of that as well. But there becomes a point in time where users can potentially collateralize their position and do other things in DeFi, right? That you could start to pour the octane on this engine, and maybe somebody has a little bit higher risk tolerance, but this is without risk to the central treasury. All the revenue sources and sources of yield are not risking the treasury. Like one of the other things that the DAO can do that is ready is to launch a perpetuals DEX and have all that revenue flow into the accrual of more Bitcoin, for example. So there's a couple of things. So the tokenomics in the beginning, there is going to be a very small liquidity pool, and that's intentional for a couple of different reasons. So the liquidity pools start out, and the treasury needs to be bootstrapped with something. So there's a net asset value there. So when the first bonding event comes along, we know what we're discounting, right? We know what's there and what you're getting, what you're offered, essentially. So there's going to be sort of this excitement period where you realize how cheap owning a slice of this treasury is, which represents, future growth as well, right? So there's kind of a race and a demand, like this sort of this premium exclusivity of this bonding event that allows you to get something early at a discount, right? And these will be in series. Like there will be, like I said, each series has its own parameters and its own discount and everything like that. But then maybe you just can't wait and you say, well, I'm just going to buy some because this is still an incredible value, right? And so you go to the market and you're willing to pay a premium, right? Whatever that premium is. And you see how this snowball starts to, or this flywheel starts to work, right? That flywheel term has been overused in DeFi, but it essentially is an accrual machine, and the protocol has presets where it can decide, okay, this is ridiculous, it's 10x over now. We're not going to like dump on the people, but right away what happens is that is it's the same way like it's selling overpriced equity. What MicroStrategy would do, it's the same way to do that here is because you're immediately acquiring Bitcoin and it's raising the NAV for everybody, right? So doesn't have the same effect of dumping on the people, right? It's really how this whole system works. The tokenomics. So like I said, there's going to be 50 million. This initial the initial DAO, because we want it to be fair and decentralized as possible. It's there's like a total of 4.5% vested over 2 years for the founding DAO members. So whoever gets in as a founding DAO member gets a set amount of tokens, but they're vested over 2 years. And so there's protection to be fair to everybody, because it is, almost it can become a proportionate advantage if it wasn't done right. So it's a very, very small portion, reasonable, and it is vested. So basically your incentives are aligned, essentially. Everybody benefits when the treasury grows. So the only way to get tokens in the beginning will be through the liquidity pool or the bonding events, essentially. So, yeah.
And so I assume you'll have bots that'll be arbitraging that will help keep the NAV price up and in equilibrium or close to what the Bitcoin holdings are.
Well, you don't need that per se, because it's not important that it's bonded like to the price of Bitcoin. What's more important is that the underlying assets are there and they're transparent and verifiable. And this is the beauty of this on-chain version, is it's something that MicroStrategy doesn't have. Like we don't have to wait till Q3 to find out this and that, the other thing. Everything is transparent in real time. Could even see who's in lineup for redemptions, for example, or see all these metrics. So it's not so important to have the price pegged, because like I said, there's a natural mechanism built in. If the price gets too low, then why wouldn't you buy it to redeem it for the Bitcoin, right? So there's incentive that way, but there's also a possibility that the protocol could use some of its revenue source to do some buybacks as well, although that's not its main objective. There might be a price point that makes sense to do that as well, right? But I know myself, like I'm going to be acquiring my tokens the same way as other people off the market. And I mean, somebody dips it down to a point where I know that Bitcoin's in the treasury, and I'm like, well, it's just money sitting on the table, right? So it's going to make sense to buy it at a certain price. Yeah,
that makes sense. So you said there'll be an allocation to sort of the team that are making the decisions. They're part of the DAO, and it's a small percentage. Is there going to be a white paper that talks about the tokenomics, talks about how much allocation is going to each member, and then what the sort of plans are? Because I know that in our community, people in a good way or want to learn and read what the actual protocol is going to be about, so they can make a decision, because
Absolutely.
it sounds amazing, right?
Yeah,
but getting into the weeds is important.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a light paper that's an easy read, that's good for most people's brain just at first glance. Got some nice pictures and explains everything, how it works. And then I just put out the latest version of the white paper, version 1.6, that has all the math, all the technicals. Should satisfy the most data hungry of you out there. I'm part bot and part. Oh, you got it right here. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the sort of the light paper version. It explains all the moving parts. Gives you like a bird's eye overview that you don't have to start smoking from the ears to understand. But it usually begs a few more questions, right? And so we have our Telegram we just opened. But like I said, the main principle about this is it has to be decentralized. Like, I'm not going to have a controlling share, and that's important. And there's going to be like DAO controlled, in the beginning, right off the gate, because it just has to be this way for everybody's protection. And I think it's going to be wonderful. One thing I wanted to touch on too, if we got a second though, is the Treasury security, because it's a question a lot of people have when you're dealing with a protocol like this.
Yes, is that included on this document somewhere, or should I?
Not this document, the full white paper that is available in our Telegram.
I have that. I can pull it up. Do you remember what section?
No, I'm not sure. This is a work in progress. The white paper is kind of dynamically being updated, but I can just I can touch on something that people could easily understand, because the topic of security comes up, and rightfully so, right? For a protocol like this. And so one of the beauty, or the things that Bitcoin Strategy has going for it, is that the vault is very like single purpose. There's very, very limited things it can do. One is it can receive funds from bonding. It can sell coins at a premium, within a very confined framework. There's basically four things that it can do, right? The premiums, the bonds. It can interact with very select liquidity pools. But essentially, it doesn't go out and interact with random protocols and sketchy smart contracts. And it's really like, it's not like a kitchen sink DeFi project where it has there's all these experimentation that goes on. It's really very, and what that allows us to do is keep the contracts extremely narrow, like the scope of the contract. So there's very limited things that this vault can do. It's not like interacting, it's not tied into the front end. It's not tied into a lot of these other moving parts that add vulnerabilities to protocols. So we give up a little bit of the high octane things you can do. Like, the Treasury isn't going to go and take all the Bitcoin and start putting it in some pool, right? Like, that's the thing we want to avoid. So it's kind of becomes ossified, in a sense that the same way that Bitcoin is kind of boring and it just does what it's supposed to do, and the core technology just stays the same. Really, for this work, like, the Bitcoin has to be out of our hands in that sense. Like, we're relying on the code to do what it's supposed to do. And so in that respect, we're able to have a lot tighter security, in the sense that a lot of DeFi protocols, the vulnerabilities come in from all the contract interactions with the outside. So that's one of the things that I just wanted to touch on, because it's hard to grasp, the parameters of what could go wrong. Like, smart contract risk is always there. Like, that's a thing everywhere. And that's that's why you don't have all your eggs in one basket anywhere. But there's ways that you can build something that are light years more light years ahead in being more stable and secure, and closed loop, like we are.
So you're saying you expect this? I like that you use the word ossified. I actually had to look that up live while we were while we were going. I'm like, ossified. What does
Yeah.
that mean? Turns into bone or stays rigid and unflexible. So basically, like once this thing launches and it works, it just basically buys the boring Bitcoin when there's advantage, and it buys more of its own stock when there's advantage, and people redeem and come in and out when there's advantage, and the bots arbitrage when there's advantage. Correct? Something.
Yeah, so
along those lines?
that's the fourth thing the vault can do is the redemptions there. But yeah, so the exactly, it's very very limited in terms of its functionality. But what's cool is that instead of messing, doing the experimentation and messing around in the vault, there's things that we can build on top of it or around it, right? And that's like I was mentioning, where you might get to a point where this is really cool. Your Bitcoin per token is growing. You started out with maybe 0.1 or a representation of 0.1 Bitcoin, and then now it's 0.2, 1.12, 0.15, and you see this thing is working. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then it's like, what if I turned up the dial? Like, so there could be an option for you to collateralize your position without risking the vault, without risking the main treasury, and because the protocol has the ability to understand the value because it has all the pieces, and say, okay, well, I'll give you 50 cents on a dollar if you're going to go and leverage trade or do something crazy with it. I'll take that other side of the bet. And so in that sense, there can be responsible ways to build on top that does not jeopardize the main treasury, because that was my main aim, was as above all else, is how do we protect this treasury, right? How do we protect it from everything from like, insiders? Like, so just to be clear, like there isn't particularly a team. Like, I'm the dev, the founder, in terms of spooling this up, but I'm in the process, like I said, starting up this DAO that is very important to have running, like as close to day one as we can. And so that's kind of where we're at in this process. So invite anybody that's interested to pop by our Telegram. Been answering some really good tough questions, and looking forward to answering a lot more. So
Yes, so I am. I'm looking for
Rick.
the link for the Telegram. If it is t.me/@ Bitcoin strategy portal. Is this the name for the Telegram?
that looks right. Yeah, that's Dominic. He's taking care of the socials there. He set that up, so that would be the name. Yeah, that's the way to get in. It's just brand new, so you can have a look around and ask some questions and get orientated. The white paper's pinned at the top, and the light paper, and we're excited to get going here. This has been under development for quite some time, by the way. It's not just a conceptual phase. We're in the final stretches of just putting together the DAO and getting this thing rolling.
How many people are part of the DAO, and is there a token that allows them to vote, or is it just sort of more like a board member?
Yeah, that's a good question. And one of the aims too was to keep this as simple as possible. So there is two tokens. I didn't mention the second one is the Vault Vest token. So essentially, when somebody would bond, they get the Vault Vest token, which devests into the MSTRX token, into the main token. So there's only two token model, and the main token is the voting token as well. So because we needed to have the DAO spooled up, and there needed to be tokens to work in the DAO. So this is kind of part of the reason why we're at this phase, is that we want to assemble a good cohort of 10, 20 people. However, actually, the more the merrier, really. Actually, it's better to have more. But generally speaking, in governance, in any protocol, you usually find only a handful of people that really want to pull the levers. But there's other ways you can participate. You can delegate your votes to somebody that maybe has the best interests of the protocol in mind too, right? That's another way. But essentially, ideally, you'd like to get in the range of at least 10, maybe 20 people involved before we launch, so to speak.
Will you have a list of the DAO members? I know that sometimes that's tricky because decentralization and people don't want to be known, but is it just going to be sort of you as the head and or are you going to be, or those people are going to be?
Yeah.
sort
Well,
of
the interesting is, like, I'm kind of spearheading the project, but it's important that I don't, according to my lawyer, it's important. No, it's important that I don't have a controlling stake. And that's the interesting thing, and just a testament to showing how this is a fair launch, in that, like I say, the founders allocation is split amongst the founding members, whoever wants to be part of the founding member of the DAO. And it's a very reasonable small allocation, but it's a valuable one as well, because all the incentives are aligned. Everybody's incentives are aligned to see the same thing come to fruition, right? And so, obviously, I'm going to be providing insight and guidance, and responsible for the development, and getting this thing off the ground. But it's 100% community owned and run and governed right from the get-go. Having said that, like, this is why it's important to have the right people in the beginning to ensure that only reasonable things get passed. And so there is some mechanisms we can use during the first transition phase, like vote weights can maybe kind of gradually shift into where they should be, just to make sure that things happen the way they're supposed to happen, the way that they're intended to be. But essentially, you want this to shift into a community owned and run and governed project as soon as possible.
So at this point, could anyone that wanted to join the DAO?
Yep, they can.
Because
yes.
It's a token that can be purchased.
Well, so it's kind of a catch-22 with trying to launch this in a decentralized way, because we can't start the treasury at zero, and we need that token for voting. So there is a mechanism that allows people to kind of help in this little bootstrapping phase, but it's very limited on purpose, because, like I said,
the initial LP and things to that extent. So there'll be some money that they have to put in to be able to
exactly, like,
in the DAO. Sounds like
we need something to start with. So it's intentionally very small, because, like I said, it's we want this to be decentralized, and the first major bonding event will be kind of where things start to kick off, right? Because so you want to have everything in place, and then open the floodgates, basically. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any questions?
Well, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. I was prepping for filling your seat when you pop out here, so I have my phone just as a placeholder, so I don't have to read you the
Speaking of
production
popping,
thing. Yes. Yeah. Ooh, you've got a fantastic drink there. By the way, Mr. YellowCake, are you sipping on anything alcoholic or fun tonight as you hang out in Chittery?
Well, I am actually. I knew you guys sometimes tore into it. I tried to be discreet about it, but you never know what's in the cup. It's yeah. No, I got something fun. Yeah, fun and tasty.
Excellent.
Not into the. I saved the nice the nice bourbons and scotches for celebratory times. Once once the work's done, once you launch the project, or you pop the cork off the, I don't know, the proverbial.
That's good enough.
So I have one more question. Well, at least, I mean, I have plenty of questions, as you can tell. This kind of stuff.
Well, that's fine. Yeah.
Gets me going. So, what made you, first of all, think, hey, I love what Strategy Inc.'s doing. I think that they have a wonderful plan. Like you said, other people are following that strategy as well. No pun intended. Mm-hmm. And what made you say, hey, I want to do a similar thing, but I want to build it on the blockchain? And just so everyone knows, this is on Ethereum, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good point too. So yeah, a couple of questions packed in there. So yeah, the main treasury and DAO will live on Ethereum. Unfortunately, Pulse Chain still doesn't have a good infrastructure for DAOs. However, the front end could theoretically be chain agnostic, meaning that we could have a front end on Pulse Chain that the RH ecosystem could participate in, and then also if that DAO decided to launch that perps DEX, which is let me tell you just briefly, leverage creates volume and volume creates fees, right? Like it doesn't take long for revenue to spool in. I had launched a pilot project Dex just to see for some testing, and yeah, it works. Just did a little $10 million test trades and $7,000 in revenue, just like that, right? And that's just in a few days, one user. These things are designed to create revenue. So my point is, though, I've always wanted a way to trade Richard Hart assets with leverage on a good perp stacks, and this is a venue that could allow that. I know Richard always said don't leverage trade, don't do it, but people are gonna do it. So if you're gonna do it, might as well do it on something that benefits the protocol here. So
might as well get a piece of the pie, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so it is on Ethereum, but the main treasury will live in Ethereum, but there's no reason that we can't have liquidity pools and front end for other chains as well. Yeah,
got to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a second part to your question. Did I answer it? I don't.
Yeah. What was the chain? I kind of just want people to know. And you said Ethereum,
right?
So.
Oh yeah, and you were saying would let up to, or you're asking something about
why you wanted to do this in the first place,
right?
What give you that
Yeah, well, actually, like I was mentioning, I was trying to figure out a way to do it with my corporation in real life there, but the one of the things that became apparent is that you need to have really good revenue to come in, and MicroStrategy had this trust factor and stuff. So really, as a coder and developer on chain already, it would just naturally gravitated to where that's to this. How could I do this? How could I do this? Right? Not if, but how. And there was always 2 or 3 hurdles that I had to solve for, and just one by one, I just eventually had with perseverance had come up with my own design that had solved these things. And when I started to do economic modeling and testing, there was a lot of adjustments that had to be made, but it just made sense because this is what I do. I'm a crypto nut, and might as well do what I know how to do. And a big thing for me is I don't like sales per se. I like building something or doing something and telling somebody about it. And if they want it, ideally if it's good enough, they're just gonna, you don't need to sell it. It sells itself, right? And that's kind of what I wanted to do, is I wanted to build something that I'm proud of having my name behind, and that makes sense, So that's kind of why I did it. Like I said, the amount of trading revenue I generate just of myself, it makes sense to build this and use it because the PerpStacks revenue feeding in to something like this alone makes sense for me, right? For my own strategy.
So you're essentially solving your own problem and then inviting other people to participate. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's the way that the best products are made, in my humble opinion. Is I don't want to say selfish, but I'm very into Ayn Randian objectivism. You put on your own oxygen mask before you help people put
Right.
their oxygen masks on as well, kind of thing. And when you solve your own problems, oftentimes the people that solve their own problems, there's other people in the world that have that same problem, and they're like, oh shit, this thing's fucking great, and then they could just make the whole world better. So that's how I interpret sales, anyways. It sounds like we're on the same page there. So
Yeah.
Brendan, I want to give you an opportunity to.
I mean, I do.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I do sales for a living.
Yeah, you've come to the right place.
Don't we all understand?
We're the yin yangs. We like it. Frickin' Brendan, I know you gotta bounce here soon because we're coming up on that 1 hour mark. Have you asked pretty much all of the important questions that you want to get out, or if you can think of anything else, hit me up in the Telegram or anything. But I want to give you the floor before you gotta bounce things. Is that
Yep. I appreciate it, broski. YellowCake has been awesome to learn a little bit about the protocol. I will be listening to the rest of the stream, and I'll be joining the Telegram. I love the new products that are launching, and yeah, if there's anything that you need from us, we're happy to help, and stay in touch. Outside of that, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Blessings to all y'all and your family. Anyone in the United States, anyone outside of the United States, I'm thankful for you. So therefore, I'm still celebrating Thanksgiving, and you're in my heart for that as well. So wonderful time, and blessings to you and all your families. And YellowCake, my best friend's from British Columbia, so.
Nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful province. But yeah, thanks so much for having me on, and yeah, good luck with that turkey.
Yeah,
And,
thank you.
You're heading steering the ship on that one.
Oh yeah, I do all the cooking in the house.
Nice.
My wife's also working tomorrow, so I'll be making the turkey. Did the mac and cheese tonight. We got a green bean casserole. We got asparagus and tomatoes. We got mashed potatoes. We got bread. We got a couple other things. I don't know. I'm making way too much food.
That sounds good already, man. Yeah.
A stuffing, and then some gravy, of course.
Yeah, the Canadian Thanksgiving was a month ago, man. I'm ready for another one.
Oh, hey, man! If you're close to where I am, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You get here in about 18 hours.
Yeah.
All right, guys. No, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. YellowCake. Really, really cool protocol, and looking forward to learning more about it.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Cheers.
Excellent.
Cheers,
We'll
guys.
catch you on the flip side, Mr. Brendan. YellowCake, don't go anywhere. We're still streaming. Adios, Mr. Brendan.
Salute to all the homies.
All right.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of all the homies, actually, this is a good part of the show. A good opportunity for us to do some chat motherfucking shout-outs. Ooh, I thought when Brendan would leave that it would switch you down to the co-host camera spot, but it looks like it did not do that. So I don't have to do this, but I can. But I won't. We don't need a second me on screen, so we're just going to have an empty co-host spot for now. But it's time for some chat motherfucking shout-outs, ladies and germs. We've got a lot of nice fantastic and awesome DJs that have joined us tonight. First and foremost, came in right after we finished the chat shoutouts earlier. We got Mr. Hexglen, who walks in and says, "Hello, degenerates. Hello to you too, Mr. Hexglen. Good to see you, amigo." A Degen Roundtable sticker winner, I must say. He's super cool and awesome. We do sticker giveaways periodically here on the Degen Roundtable, where we send out little chat shoutout stickers and little Degen Roundtable stickers to people who win giveaways and things. And Mr. Hexglen is one of the first winners. So good to see you. We've also got Mr. Marcus72 has joined us. What chain is this on and has been audited? We have answered both of those questions. It is on the Ethereum chain and it has not yet been audited. They're still in the DAO creation process, but there you go, good sir. And potentially could have a front end on Pulse Chain at some point. We've also been joined by Mr. Dom Sawyer OG himself, and this is the @ in Telegram to get into the Telegram chat. So if you guys want to go hop in the Bitcoin Strategy Telegram and read these fantastic white papers and things like that, then that's just all you need to type in t.me/Bitcoin Strategy Portal, and that will bring you right on over there. So there we go for that. We've also been joined by Mr. Pulse Jitsu, Mr. Fast Abdul, who says, "I am here for the tech." Good to see you, Fast Abdul. Welcome, bro. Welcome to the stream, broski. Mr. Fast Abdul is always around for the tech. At some point, YouTube is going to show me the correct usernames and not the things that people like the URLs for usernames. So I'm excited for when that comes back to us. But it's good to see you, Fast Abdul. Welcome. We've also got Mr. Vets in Crypto, who lets us know that he is a fan of the YellowCake. And I want to I only just recently learned, YellowCake, that the name YellowCake does that come from the Seaburn signal, the radiation, the yellow and black triangles all in a circle around? Is that what the YellowCake is from? Is that where you got your name?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole other story, but yeah, YellowCake is a substance that is highly radioactive. It's it's
excellent.
We'll leave it at that.
Well, apparently Mr. Vets in Crypto likes to eat Vets in Crypto is a fellow knuckle dragger such as myself. We are Marines that like to eat delicious, highly toxic substance and crayons and drag our knuckles and rocks and things. So good to see you, Mr. Vets in Crypto. Semper to you, broski. We're also joined by Tam Hexagon, who says, "Hello, my lovelies." Hello to you too, Tam. Shout out to the #1 cheerleader in Hexaco. You guys can check out her onboarding spaces that she hosts on Twitter every Tuesday starting at 6 p.m. Central Time. So for those of you guys that are in Central Time, such as myself, that's when those things start, and they're generally on Tuesdays. I think this Tuesday was a special Thanksgiving Tuesday, so I don't think she did the space. But yeah, you guys can check that out if you're interested in learning more about what to do in the crypto and pulse chain onboarding world. We're also joined by Mr. Smooth Brain, who lets us know that he is chilling with some Dalwhinnie 15 and some Degens here. I'm not sure what Dalwhinnie 15 is. Is that a fancy Scotch or brandy or something, Mr. YellowCake?
Yeah, it's a nice drink. It's a good one. Is he using rocks? Going straight up.
I presume he's using the rocks. He's Mr. Smooth Brain is a Degen most aficionado over there. So
Yeah.
good for you. I'm personally sipping on just some bean juice. I'm having coffee because I had woken up from a nap earlier. It was a strange day for me today. I was sleeping for most of the afternoon. So I woke up about an hour before the show, rubbed the gunk out of my eyes, made some coffee, and now we're jacked and juicy and ready to rock and roll. Speaking
Nice.
of jacked and juicy, we got Mr. Fast Abdul again here, who says bullish are smart, weird guys. So yes, the smart weird guys are all bullish. We all know what's going on. We all understand the tech. We're all here for the tech. So a good reminder there. We're also joined by Mr. Moondog, another good real life friend of mine. Good to see you, Moondog, who says howdy rowdies with the pirate flag. Howdy to you too, sir. Good to see you in the chats again. And then another veteran, Mr. Hexkin Lost in Asia, who reminds everyone to smash that like button. So make sure you guys smash that like. There you guys go. And he gives us the salute. Good to see, good sir. Good to see. Marcus72 wants to know if there's cheesecake or and then people want to know where the dinner is. I don't think that Mr. Brennan's going to dox himself to come hang out with you guys. But if you know him personally, or if you happen to be in the Degen Roundtable Telegram, where we talk about meetups from time to time, then you might get to hang out with him. And also a reminder for everyone to like, share, and subscribe if you're not a little girly boy. So there he goes. And if you are a little girly boy, remember to like, share, and subscribe anyways. So there you guys go. We're also joined by everyone's favorite babushka. We've got Jemmy back in LA. Good to see you, Jemmy. Jemmy says, hello, Degens. Welcome back to the land of the free and the home of the brave. And there we go. And then absolutely. Hexglen is definitely a good dude. And that is all we've got for the chat shout outs and things. And that brings us up to date for the chats and the comments. Mr. YellowCake, I want to take an opportunity to go through the light paper with you while we are here physically in the same space on stream. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that share screen back up. Oh, that's the wrong one. I want to use this one. There we go. Makes our picture a little bit bigger. Let's see. I'll get rid of this little side thing over here, so that way we can see more of the screen. We'll zoom in a touch of a bit, so that way we can read everything. And I just kind of want to roll through this light paper, make sure that my background is better. There we go. Remove all distractions. Okay. So this is, as you were saying earlier, this is basically just the light paper. It's not the white paper. This is like the simpleton, like, hey, here's some pretty colors and crayons for the normie folks. Can we walk through this piecemeal by piecemeal and just kind of explain to the folks at home?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's a lot simpler. It's one of those things I wanted to make that you just take a deep breath, and it's going to be easy to understand and easy. Like, I wanted it to be very intuitive and very straightforward. One of the things that isn't on this document is like the dashboard that we're making is really going to be a picture worth 1,000 words, where it's going to show the Bitcoin in the treasury, right? It's going to show the value of the token trading, right? And then your personal dashboard, which include little things like how much Bitcoin how much you have, like how much Bitcoin it represented, the growth over time. But then all these little metrics, like, how much Bitcoin is bought in the last week, when's the next epoch, like how many bonds were sold, and all these cool little metrics. But really, like, it's something you'll just look at, and it's as simple as, like, if you started out with 0.01 Bitcoin, $800 worth, and you see that growing to 0.012 and then 0.015, and the net asset value per token is increasing, and you're like, okay, I see how this works now. It's like, not only is like the Bitcoin price going up and down and the Bitcoin price, but I'm like actually getting more Bitcoin, right? And that's the whole goal, is to accumulate more of the token, right? Because it's scarce. And that's so basically that's this first little part is just explaining the aim is to build this rapidly growing vault, right? Rapid accumulation of Bitcoin. And so every dollar bonded, actually there's a mechanism for the anti-dilution. There's a little bit of formula. This might have to be updated, but essentially, you're not diluted. You figure, well, how can you offer this discount? But there's a mechanism in place to ensure that users aren't diluted. Like the net asset value only goes up for people, not down. And that happens through an anti-dilution mechanism akin to burning, but you can essentially, those tokens can be put into a wallet that just sits there. And if the price of the treasury goes up, as long as the sale of those assets, as long as it's above net asset value and it's net asset value accretive, meaning that it's going to, be beneficial for all the token holders to sell that at 2x, like you could essentially recycle those tokens, right? But it could just sit in there and a super majority vote wallet decides, okay, you know what, let's do another round. So the amount of tokens will only be what's minted on Genesis, never be less. And then so that's that. The dual token architecture below, the MSTRX token, which we might call the strat token. It rolls off the tongue a lot easier in a sentence, but there's something about
it's a bit of a syllable cluster there.
Yeah, it is. And the thinking behind that initially was like MicroStrategy's already done this advertising. We just say like we're just doing what they do on chain, right? Was the idea is that this was inspired by this and kind of linking off that, but again, the DAO
search
is
engine Google version 2.
Yeah, so this is something the DAO can have a say in. The Vault Vest token is basically what represents your vested share in the vault that's going to basically turn into the MSTRX token over time, day by day. And so that just that essentially is a non-transferable token, but there could be there could be a secondary market for that if we allow it before launch in the programming. But the idea was to keep the architecture very simple of these ERC20 tokens, to not introduce complexities that don't need to be there, and that way they can interact with other DeFi stuff more easily. Some LPs and things don't like when you start adding weird rules and stuff in your tokens. So those are just basic ERC20 tokens, your basic vesting bonding contract. And then what else you got here?
So now we got the mechanics and the growth drivers. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to my good buddy who hopped in right at the end of the chat. Shout outs. Need for Speed New York 4183. I know you from the Jam Ranch. Good to see you, Mr. Christian. Welcome to the stream, amigo. This is a good real life friend of mine.
Yeah.
But back to treasury mechanics and growth drivers. So it looks like so you got 4 things here: the bonding events, yield generation, premium sales, and DAO governance.
So everything from like Bootstrap and the excitement phase to the sustainability, right? So the bonding events in the beginning are really going to create this excitement and FOMO, but not in a bad way. But that's to help bootstrap the treasury, and then later on, premium sales and yield generation from other venues can feed into continuing to grow and accrue the net asset value per token for the holders. And that's all by DAO governance. There's a certain amount of levers that they can pull to control things. As I was mentioning, there's only ever going to be 50 million tokens, and so can you imagine in the beginning, your goal is to own 0.5% of the treasury or something like that. But what's interesting about that is that if we haven't decided yet if we're going to actually burn the tokens or because if we say we're going to burn them, we have to burn them, but they can be taken out of circulation or burned. But the idea is that if they are burned, essentially, if you started out with 1% of the treasury or something like that, it could turn into 1.5%. If you start to decrease the shares that represent it, right? So net asset value is the total amount in Bitcoin in the treasury divided by the total amount of tokens, and that'll never get larger, is what you need to know anyhow. And so even if we did decide to go with a program that allowed them to sit in the wallet and later be used, they're only going to be used if it's beneficial to the holders, meaning that sold at double the 2x the net asset value, then you're getting 2x the Bitcoin, and you're raising the net asset value for everybody, right? So in that case, it would make sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
I see here it says for every $1 bonded, one MSTRX token is permanently burned from the reserve supply. The reserve supply is a part of the fixed supply, right? Have we
that's
spoken
correct. Yeah.
about
Yeah, there will
how
never
big the
be
reserve
50 million. So only in the beginning, there's only going to be a very small amount in the liquidity pool, as I mentioned. And then
Yeah.
As tokens divest from various functions, they'll become available. So there's going to be a heavy demand in the beginning in that liquidity pool. So there's going to be a cat and mouse game to play because maybe it makes sense to buy 3x the net asset value in the beginning, but it's going to be fun.
Okay.
And then
Is that what brings us into this?
3-phase revenue model. Yeah. So essentially, there was going to be phases. The perpetuals revenue was something that was kind of like a pie in the sky dream, but it actually just happened to become within reach a lot easier than it just kind of fell into my lap with this thing called Orderly Network, where there was basically very easy to launch a DEX, and you basically rent their liquidity and their order book, and without the risk to you can participate in the liquidity pool if you want, but essentially you're using their liquidity, their order book. So for every dollar that's traded, you're getting fees. You're paying them a small cut, but you're earning revenue on that. So that's something that is, if the DAO decides to pull the trigger on, it's ready to go. And anybody that uses it to trade, the fees will be in the control of the governance of the DAO, which will generally be going towards accruing new Bitcoin. It might go to some buybacks. Could go to some potentially have a little pool in case the price dips and we want to do some buybacks. But essentially, there's various revenue streams, but the bonding and the premium sales are going to be the main two that matter in the beginning.
Okie dokie. Sweet. And I've while you were chatting there, I did a dirty thing, and I took the white paper that you've got, the 30-page white paper. I threw it into ChatGPT, and I said, "Explain this to me like I'm young." So we can go through that too.
Nice.
After we're done with this,
Yeah,
I wanted to pick your brain about this part, because this is the anti-rug device, right? This is what stops people from dumping the price. If I understand this correctly, yeah.
That's right. It's part of it. Yeah. So as I mentioned, the aim was to build this treasury and to have, like I said, MicroStrategy. The shareholders can't redeem for Bitcoin, but can you imagine how that would fly on chain, right? It's not like, who owns the treasury? How is it? So there has to be a redemption mechanism as a safety net and as a way to unwind or to theoretically unwind, right? But the main aim was to continually grow and build this treasury. So there's a couple different mechanisms we have in place to help this happen, to help protect the treasury, protect the protocol from malicious actors that maybe just for some reason had a large amount of tokens and wanted to dump them or drain the treasury, right? They can't really effectively do that. Even like an early DAO member that owned large amount of tokens or something, which we're trying to avoid. We're trying to have this evenly dispersed and reasonably dispersed, but there's safety nets in place for this, and so one of them is that's not mentioned here, is in the white paper, is there's a time locked factor that you earn basically a more favorable exit position by the amount of time you've spent in a pool, right? So it kind of affects that formula. So this is this quadratic redemption mechanism was inspired by Vitalik Buterin. He always talked about this quadratic voting, and I always loved this idea of like it wasn't just black and white. There was like these other things you could put in. So this basically, just think of it as a mechanism that with a lot of different levers we can adjust to basically find a balance from what people want, because essentially we want to protect the treasury, want to protect it from whales trying to dump or something like that, and you want to from arbitrage. You don't want just the price of Bitcoin to go down and just people just drain the treasury and it's over.
Yeah.
But yet you want to so these were all in the design factors. Pretty happy with that.
Okay.
And
does that bring us into this part, the safety and trust?
So there's the audit's important, but as I mentioned, almost more important or as important is the design factor, in that the constraints we have on the treasury and what it's allowed to do and interact with, and that's and as well as having the DAO control effectively is like a multi-sig essentially. So there's only things that make sense are going to happen, and that's important. As well as the transparency, proof of reserve. Users will always be able to see that there's assets backing, and the code is doing what it's supposed to do, which is really important.
And this is the chain link integration part for the backing. Is that what you mean there?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay, all right, sweet. And then the final part,
Mhm.
long-term growth and sustainability.
Yeah, so essentially, my eyes are bad here. But
so I could read it if you'd like. I wouldn't understand it, but I could read it, or I can zoom in.
Yeah, I got it here. I did, my screen was I was only looking at the little window there. But yeah, secondary bond market. So there's let's see here, burn, token recycling, revenue funded. Just basically, like I said, if you look at price as a factor of the net asset value, like how much tokens there are backing each, how much Bitcoin there is backing each token, right? And so if you own a piece of the treasury, you don't want to get diluted by new tokens coming onto the market. And so basically we have all these mechanisms in place to ensure that you buy one token, and that's going to represent 3 zeros and a 1, because we all like that number of Bitcoin. And then it's never going to be less than that, right? It's just going to keep going up ideally. And that's how that works. Is basically there's some methods in place to that I've kind of talked about already. Sorry, I just I don't know if you want to go over things again there, but redundancy.
Oh, no, I was just kind of making sure that we cover all the bases.
Yeah. Staker benefits. And there's the other aspect is that once you have these tokens and there's liquidity pool, and what else can you do with them? I mean, you just wait. They do what they're supposed to do, accrue more Bitcoin per token. But there's also some potential benefits we can instill to encourage people to participate in governance. So if somebody was going to stake their tokens, they get to pull the levers, but also there's a potential to steer some incentives there. Like, for example, if we did have that perp stacks generating significant revenue, we could steer some of that to the staker benefits as well. There's all kinds of things we can do there in terms of, like I say, building on top of the treasury and the vault, but not in it, not messing with the stuff that's inside of it, but building around it.
We actually have a question from Mr. Vetson Crypto. Who is the origin address of the supply?
Well, that'll be the contract. Like when we there's a launch phase, like with the contracts. Essentially, like when you deploy things, there's a certain way that keys are generated and everything, and so it'll all be within transparent smart contracts. So there's nobody will control the vault or have access to the vault or a backdoor to it, if that's what you mean. It's all deployed using like verified and standardized libraries and ways of doing this that are trusted and verifiable. And yeah.
And then one more question from Mr. Vets in Crypto: is this self or team funded, and is there any additional outside money needed to finish the project? It sounds like from what you were saying that the code is mostly finished, right?
Yeah, it's completely self-funded. Like I said, there is a requirement for a little bit of capital to get it off the ground in terms of just bootstrapping the treasury and the liquidity pool. So, and the DAO. So essentially, like there is how was that question worded? Was there is there any additional outside money needed to finish the project? Basically, to launch it, we're going to need to have something in the treasury. So we're kind of it's part of the initial DAO, kind of like the boot up phase, where we need to have something in the treasury. We need to have something in
the
the
money
LP,
to buy the asset, right?
Yeah. So in exchange for for the early I guess risk and help you'd be doing, there's a token allocation for early DAO participants. Like I said, vested over 24 months. It's all out in the open and transparent there, so for everybody to see. So
Okay. And he's got some good questions here. Thank you, Vets. Are there PLP incentive? What is a PLP? That's a liquidity pool, right?
Yeah, and well, there's a possibility, like for people that are familiar with own forks, like one of the things that they did, they actually pioneered, I think, for bonding was basically the if that's what he's talking about, but essentially the LP token. So, for example, if somebody was to pair the MSTRX token with USDC and take that LP token and potentially purchase the bond with that, sometimes there was a preferred rate or different rates or bond series for those types of things. I'm not sure exactly what kind of incentives you're talking about, but there's always ways to make incentives for LP providing and for growing liquidity pools if needed. One of the things I didn't mention was that on the bonding events, 95% of the revenue goes to the Bitcoin treasury and 5% goes to feed the liquidity pool. So there is a liquidity growth engine built into the bonding mechanism as well. But like I said, the initial liquidity pools are intentionally small to create a demand for the bonds and also to create a trading premium that will benefit the protocol. So.
Okie. Excellent. Mm-hmm. All right, sweet. I would like
to ask good questions.
yeah, these are certainly some good questions. I would like to take an opportunity real quick to hop on over to the ChatGPT summary. Hooray for ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
And helping.
What was your prompt, first of all, if you could share?
So I just copy and pasted the entire
but what did you ask?
White paper, and I said, "What does the following mean?" So that is my entire prompt. So okay. I'm glad I have you for accuracy here. So if it's explaining to me in plain English, if this is accurate, then let's hope so. But I have you to correct any of the things. So we're gonna actually start at the bottom where it does the core idea in one sentence. So basically, MSTRX turns market demand and bonding deposits into permanent Bitcoin treasury growth that ratchets the NAV higher over time with no new tokens ever minted. And that sounds pretty darn correct.
Yeah. I like it. Yep.
Okay. Yep. And then the TLDR for the will style TLDR, because you could see over here, I basically use it to generate every single Degen Roundtable show for things that I want to talk about. Like I've got ChatGPT trained pretty well on how to make things too long didn't read for me specifically. So the two tokens. So MSTRX is essentially just decentralized MicroStrategy. The VVest token is the slow release discount tokens. The bonding is buy at a discount, and then the treasury buys the Bitcoin. Premium sales, we got the market pays above the NAV, the protocol captures the FOMO and then buys more Bitcoin. The NAV is basically just like we were saying earlier, the Bitcoin per token, and the NAV always rises because the Bitcoin flows in, the supply stays fixed, and the premium sales happen only above NAV. And then there's the redemption pool, price floor mechanism with anti-whale locks, and then the DAO governs everything. So I did ask it to create a little flow chart, which I haven't even looked at yet. So we are checking this out live. Oh goodness, we are checking this out live for the first time right here. Man, so the protocol buys the MSTRX token, and it also has the Bitcoin treasury. Permanent Bitcoin accumulation leads to the DAO. There's a reserve matrix, the premium. Man, I have no idea what any of this means. Does this look like a bunch of gobbledygook and bullshit, or is this does this make any sense to you?
Did it give you like a 1980s style diagram with the?
I guess so.
But yeah, I mean, I that's the next iteration of the white paper. I'm going to have some nice diagrams in there.
Excellent. All right. Yeah. Well, this is just my little chat GPT. It also wants to know if it wants to create a Will style clickbait summary. You know what? I'll have it do that while we we look through the rest of it. Yeah. Make that click. Because I always like the clickbait stuff. It reminds me of, like, you know, when Hex first came out. You know, it's like we're going to use the scamming the scamming style things that are effective to get people to buy things that are actually useful, you know. So I always like the clickbaity stuff. I try and make the Degen Roundtable titles as clickbaity as possible, so that way people will click on them, so that way they can watch the show. Because if they never click on the show,
so what's a couple of the factors that really work for that?
Oh man, so if you look at the YouTube,
they weren't doing this anymore. Like they were doing the big mouth open.
Yeah, man, dude, people respond very well to large facial expressions. Because it's like, it's essentially the thing that gets you to take action is emotion, and then the thing that gets you to stay is you like what you see. So like if it doesn't get that rise or that emotion to get past that first little click.
But pissed off is still an emotion that counts, because like I remember like all these YouTubers were doing this, and it was making me mad. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the proof is in the pudding. That's what makes it work, is when they make you mad, you take action, or you take action in the opposite direction. But the point is that you remember it, right? Because if you don't remember it, then it doesn't exist, and we have to compete with everyone else that's doing, like, you know, the cat videos and the porn and the clickbait and all that stuff. So it's like if you look at the title, YellowCake reveals his secret masterpiece, his best work ever, Degen Roundtable Whiskey Wednesday exclusive, right? So it's meant to like ride the roller coaster, as opposed to like if I just typed the whole thing in like flat font, you know, all lowercase or all uppercase, it wouldn't have that roller coaster of emotion. And this is where we get into more of like the sales and the marketing stuff. So
you guys have been socially engineered.
Yeah. We are definitely getting socially engineered. And I realized that I have not been sharing the the thing this whole time. So I was asking you your opinion, and I didn't actually.
I see. Yeah, no, you did a good job explaining.
Okay. Yeah. So I meant to. This whole time I was scrolling around, and I thought that you could see the same thing that I could see. So shame on me for that.
You're asking, if it makes sense, and I was kind of blank staring.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fixed supply token, protocol, Bitcoin treasury, premium, DAO. Okay, what do we got? Bonding events, vest, permanent BC accumulation. Yeah, it's not a bad diagram, actually. Yeah.
Well,
see safety valve, DAO. Yeah, I mean, it's
do it live.
Yeah, no, I think that works.
All right, cool. Well, I might just copy this and fucking send it to you then.
Like no, absolutely, if you don't mind. But like I said, in my mind, like if you could paint a picture with words, that the key performance indicator would be the amount of Bitcoin per token.
Yes.
So that's what changes, and that's what grows, and that's what makes this whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, you can tell if it's working or not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin per token. Yeah. Wow. This whole time I was reading this and I thought you guys could see this. Shame on me. What a
Oh, that's it.
bad producer.
You did a
This
good
is-
job explaining it, so that's good.
Well, excellent. So let's take a look. All right. So this is the one paragraph, but that looks kind of gross. I don't want to read that whole thing. And you know, there's like the sales right there. When people see a wall of text or a big huge paragraph, they're like, ugh, I don't want that. So let's take a look at the clickbait summary with the little emojis.
Nice.
So MSTRX is basically a Bitcoin vacuum cleaner disguised as a crypto token, fixed supply asset that forces the treasury to grow every time the market gets excited. Investors bond in at a discount, the protocol buys Bitcoin, and then when the price trades above its Bitcoin backing, the system automatically sells a little MSTRX into the FOMO and funnels the profits straight into more Bitcoin, pushing the NAV higher for everyone. No inflation, no rebasing, no games, just a permanent upward pressure on Bitcoin backing per token, with a redemption safety valve that punishes whales and rewards patient stakers. So that part is the
Nice.
is the thing that's, I think, worth focusing on. It's the closest thing to MicroStrategy, with no Michael Saylor, no boardroom, and no breaks. Just a pure algorithmic Bitcoin accumulation driven by market
I
demand.
like it.
Yeah,
you
so
should
I can send you that. Send you that too. Yeah, so I do a lot of like clickbaity stuff, and also a lot of I used to write a lot of Billy Mays style. Hi, folks, Billy Mays here. You know, I'd be like, have Billy Mays sell me on, you know, like milk. Have Billy Mays sell me on this protocol. Have Billy Mays sell me on getting healthy. You know, and it would write up a script in the Billy Mays style. And
because
so,
I'm looking, like your GPT's responding to you differently than mine responds to me. But part of it's customization, but also now they've changed their algorithm, and it's basically going to spoon feed you what you like the most and what you ask for the most, and so that's the style you like to be spoken to. But it's kind of nice to see somebody else's screen, because mine is like I'm part robot and part Oracle, and you know, like it talks to me like I'm like so, you know. But sometimes it's nice to have a different angle like that, for sure.
Yeah, like you look over here. This is what I was referencing earlier. It's basically, these are all of like the headline stuff, like, hey, make me a YouTube thumbnail, make me a bunch of book club questions, make me some like titles for stuff. So like, this is basically all that I use ChatGPT for, is like creating show outlines on the fly that I can use to help run the Degen Roundtable in like a I don't know, a sequence that makes sort of kind of sense and stuff.
And now there's cross chat memory too. So like, did you notice that? Yeah. So like it's coming along there. That'll be helpful. I still I was talking to them about an enterprise grade model, just because there was so many. There's only so much memory you can have, and how much context you could have, but it's actually getting better as time goes. Just this model here. Yeah.
It's really cool, man. What they're doing with ChatGPT, and I'm sure, you know, it's gonna become like debilitatingly effective, where everybody that doesn't use it just gets smoked.
Well, this is it. Yeah, you're at a disadvantage, right? Like if it increases your productivity 3x in a day, well, you know, those that aren't using it, like you said, you're at a disadvantage.
The farmers that stick with the horse-drawn plow and never move up to the tractor.
Looking into the pig spleen for advice.
Yeah.
Do you have that, like in the States, where in the prairies where I was from, they like, these farmers would cut open a pig, and they look at the pig spleen and try to predict the future, like some kind of fortune teller.
It's like the knuckle bones, or the water finding stick.
Yeah.
Basically just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks.
Water witching.
Yeah, I do like this. I do like this protocol, man. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing the screen. We'll go back to normal zone. I do like this protocol, man. It looks pretty nifty. Basically just an infinite, as Sami likes to say, an infinite drunken Michael Saylor buying the Bitcoin. But like, now you've got it on chain. This is pretty cool, man. And you were essentially building it for yourself. And then you're like, you know, other people might like it too, but I want it first and foremost. So here we go. That's pretty damn cool, man. I like that a lot.
In some of the moving parts, like I said, I was thinking needed to have revenue, and you know, but yeah, now there's so much revenue. It's just like, okay, launch this thing, man. Let's go. It's like, but the perp decks is going to be exciting if we can get some user base. Talking to a couple of YouTubers with some following, and if if we start to get somebody like that on board, and get a user base for that, why not? I mean, people are going to trade anyhow. I trade. I pay fees. Guess what? I'm going to be incentivized to use this DEX if it's going to feed into this, right? So
we like to scratch our own backs. That's excellent.
Yeah.
We got a good question from Mr. Marcus72. Are there any Easter eggs you're willing to share, without, or if any, no expectations, obviously, but is there any special sauce?
Well, yeah, there is for sure. I guess it depends what excites you for an Easter egg. But I'm intentionally trying to keep things simple and not overcomplicate things. But there are a couple of other things that can come to be very, very easily that will benefit this whole ecosystem. Like I said, there's some other models out there, and I never studied them. I just kind of kept problem solving and building this thing. And but just recently, I was looking at one of the other models on Ethereum, and is using Ethereum, and it's very complex. Like there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of. I think it would be too much for a lot of people. Just from the experience of building the protocol on Pulse Chain that I did was very complex, and it's just a nightmare to try to understand it if you didn't understand Balancer, and never mind trying to explain it to somebody, right? That's where Fast came in. He was really good and patient with the people. Yes. I was a lot less patient that way.
Yeah, but you guys make a good dynamic duo of like explaining things to like the like your specialty of explaining more of like the nuts and bolts, and then Fast's ability to like kind of translate that into the common speak.
I always said I was use the analogy of our relationship like I'm the brakes and he's the gas pedal.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
We have another question here, a little bit of off topic, but this is from Vets in Crypto. What AI platform do you like the best, and for what application besides ChatGPT, like one for reading code, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I'm all about AI. That's a whole nother episode.
Oh yeah.
But no, like I was actually building my own model starting 2.5 years ago, my personal AI assistant, and I was using various tools and models, but essentially I like to use a few different models in congruence at the same time, because like you can get into the same way I was describing how Will's GPT looks different than mine, because they eventually kind of think they know what you want, and they keep trying to cater to that, even if you have custom instructions. But like sometimes I want a little taste of Will's, what did you call that style? The clickbait.
Oh yeah, clickbait.
Clickbait style. Like I'd have to retrain my model to do that, right? So I think it's always good to have multiple models going at the same time and working with various tools, and not just getting. It's okay to have your favorite one, but it's good to have. It's good to have a few tools. Yeah.
I think that, so I build mine more for stealing attention and capturing capturing cheap thought to bring it over to where the Degen Roundtable is, so that way we can capitalize on it and get people to just start the listening process and see if they like what we do or not. So it's I would imagine that your AI models are more around like serious work and less of like trying to steal people away from what they're already doing.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I gotta learn how to lighten up a little bit and have some fun with them, because there's a lot of fun tools and there's a lot of interesting things that I learned even just in some of my learning phases. I played around with some other technologies and tools, and it's it's incredible. But the caveat is that like there's not that there's just two different ways to use them, but I use it as a more akin to a personal assistant, whereas like another way you could use it is like a magic 8-ball where you don't even think anymore and you just kind of some people kind of want all the answers, right? But so there's a little bit of an art in how to be able to use it to be the most to help your productivity. At the Pulse Chain conference last in Las Vegas, there I was speaking a little bit with that the guest speaker that had worked on the ChatGPT in the early phases there and basically building the user interface for it. And I was asking him some questions and talking to him about my agentic AI developments there, and it's pretty insane. The whole environment and sphere is advancing so quickly. The only thing I could say is that we got to adapt. Even if you don't like the technology, you have to adapt a little bit. You're going to have to adapt or be.
That's the whole human existence. It's like you don't have to like the stick, but if your enemy's got a longer pointier stick than yours, then too bad. So sad. You get steamrolled.
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
It's not the strong that survive. It's not the quick that survive. It's not the people with the best fortresses or the most defenses. It's the people that adapt the best and can, shift and move forward. So it's
and never give up. Yeah, just keep going.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We got another interesting question from Mr. Vets in Crypto. Who is hosting your servers? Is it American Web Service, Cloudflare, security, redundancy, backup, and fallback? You guys have?
We're gonna do. We're aiming to be fully IPFS and decentralized as much as we can on every aspect. Just my devs are responsible for kind of problem solving all that, because there's some new ways and innovative ways to deploy things. Like Richard Hart is one aspect there we've seen with his software. But the idea is to not have anybody with a credit card on file hosting sites and doing this kind of thing, right? So it's kind of an interesting problem that I've tried to solve for a long time, was how to launch a bona fide decentralized protocol, because decentralization is really like on a scale, like there's always kind of a slider to how decentralized is it really, right? Where's the fail points and pinch points, and but the idea is that we want to have this as decentralized as it can be, and that's kind of the direction it's going.
Okay. Excellent. All right, let me see. We've got a couple more fun little questions from Vets. I think these are more silly. So he's asking me, how many cookbooks have I sold, and when is the New York bestseller? I only made 50 cookbooks, broski. So it could ever only sell 50, and I think I've got like 1 or 2 of them left. So
what do you cook? What's your spiel?
Oh man, so my brother and I made we made cookbooks while we were wandering around doing the tower climbing and stuff.
Nice.
Oh, Sam still has some left. That's fantastic. It's good to know, Sam. I know that I took most of your extra supply, but yeah, me and my brother. Let me step away from camera for a second, and I'm gonna walk out to my truck and grab one. But essentially, here's hoping that my headset doesn't cut off while I do this. But my brother and I made some cookbooks that sort of kind of describe our culinary experience whilst we were my truck is over this. While we were traipsing about the states, being degenerates and living on job sites, and more or less just being 2 brother bachelors and things. So it's essentially just a whole bunch of super duper ridiculously easy meals that anyone can make. And the book was kind of a joke. I'm getting a copy for it that I can show you guys, but it was a lot of fun to make. We wrote it to Sam how to like emojis in places, and just a whole silly little recipes and fun, super simple stuff like how to make a hot dog or how to scramble eggs and put like cheese on it, you know. But the whole thing was inspired because we were at a job site one day and we were cooking eggs, and my brother accidentally cracked an egg open and got a bunch of shells in the scrambled eggs, and he was like, "Oh, that's nasty. I don't want to have eggshells in my book, or eggshells in my in my eggs." And so he started complaining, and then he was like, "You know what? I shouldn't complain about eggshells. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna crack the entire egg, and we're just gonna throw the whole thing in the pan, shells and all. We're gonna scramble it up, and then we're gonna eat some fucking scrambled eggs with the shells." And so he did, and it was horrible, and it was like, "Oh, this is like."
Yeah.
This is not delicious and awesome, but it was like, oh, it's not the worst thing in the world. It kind of sucks, but it's like.
So then you pass down this advice in the book. Is that the deal?
Yeah. So anyway, so the point is we're like, oh, well, we can just make a fun bunch of silly stories about our this is
Okay.
me and my brother as old people when we're gonna be in our 70s or 80s or whatever. But
Nice.
it's the Tower Climbers cookbook, and the whole point was we're like, oh, it's a funny story how like we just decided we're gonna eat some scrambled eggs with actual eggshells in them and stuff. And ever since we did that, like I have never once cared if I get a small smidgen of eggshell in my scrambled eggs anywhere, because I've reset the baseline, because I've eaten the egg with the entire shell. It's like now I don't care about it anymore. It's it's like, once you go through like a horrible experience, you don't care as much about the tiny little, whatever the heck things that happen.
Yeah.
So
This
is the cookbook that my brother and I made. This is my only final copy that I have.
So how do you cook a hot dog that I would know?
Okay,
Like,
so the hot dog, let me skip on over to the hot dog.
We're talking like
page.
tinfoil in your engine while you're driving to work kind of thing, or what do we?
Well, no, these are all like, it's all kind of joke stuff, but it's all stuff that you can do with a hot plate. But basically, our hot dog page is actually they're called dog hots, which is where you split the dog down the middle and you put the bread inside of the actual meat itself.
Okay.
So they're actually dog hots, not hot dog. But
All right.
as you can tell, the whole recipe is kind of a joke. Cooking directions: take your bun out of the pantry, remove a single top piece, and throw away the rest. Carbs make you fat. Take the dogs out of the fridge. Move to China so you can cook your dogs without social pressure.
Well, the fact that you built the book and you launched, you did it, that's awesome. That's great.
Oh yeah,
lots of color photos too. That's not cheap. Like that's color print.
It was mostly Sam. I think we ended up so we printed 50 of them, and I think it ended up being like $10 per book. So it was like $500 to make these things. So we sold them at cost, but I think I'm pretty much out of them. We've just been selling them to Degens, and I've been shipping them all over the place. I shipped some to people over in Canada. I shipped one down to Australia, and I was an idiot when I shipped it, and I paid ridiculous prices for shipping because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's just been a super fun little experience. So this just kind of chronicles a little bit of the culinary foods that my brother and I made while we were climbing towers back in the day together. I'm still climbing towers and stuff, but now my brother Sam, in the comments over here, he is designing and drafting houses and doing all sorts of fun stuff. He's gone and made a business and things. But I don't think to answer your question, Mr. Vets in Crypto, I don't think it's going to be a New York Times bestseller, because there's only 50 and there will only ever be 50. So owning a little bit of a piece of history.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. And then he also wanted to know, you paste one's white paper and get the TLDR. Yeah, if you want me to, I will definitely share that in the Bitcoin.
You buy a white paper, get a TLDR for free.
Yeah, there you go. Send your white paper to me, and I'll get you a clickbaity TLDR using my ChatGPT model. So there you go. But I think we've covered this this project pretty well. Do you have a timeline? I guess would be the next question.
Yeah, that's always the question, isn't it?
Yeah. 2 more weeks.
I hate quoting on timelines with development work, but essentially we're I mean, if we look at about phases, we're really just in the phase of something the DAO, which is the first step to, the first phases of launch, essentially. So if you look at it that way, we're kind of imminent. The whole protocol, I'd love to get up and running, while Bitcoin's down. But let's say optimistically by end of year would be great. Yeah.
Sweet.
Mm.
Sweet. So you're are you guys at the point where you can get the DAO rocking and rolling, people can start sending in the money and like getting the ball rolling without the actual like front end or something?
Yeah. So I think like in our Telegram, which is just brand new here, we barely just got it up and running. We have discussions there and the details in there. But essentially, we're just in that phase right now. We need some good people, man. We just need people that understand what this is, see the potential, and want to help be part of the bootstrapping phase of something awesome and decentralized. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Most excellent. Well, Mr. YellowCake, I guess that's a good point for us to go ahead and end this show. For the folks at home that want to find this Telegram, for those of you guys that are watching on the audio version or not physically looking at the screen, the link to join the Telegram is t.me/Bitcoin strategy portal. Again, that's t.me/Bitcoin strategy portal, all one word. And you just type that up into your URL, and it will bring you into the pre-joining room, which is secured by Heimdall, one of the cooler bots in
That's
Telegram.
an amazing bot. I was impressed. Yeah,
that's a man. There's a whole world of Telegram bots and discussions that we can go down with that. But Heimdall is pretty cool. There's like a joining room before you get into the actual room itself. So,
but it's effective because I can't remember what I did when I launched that little perps thing. I had something I did wrong. I don't know if I posted the Telegram on the Twitter or something, or as part of the Twitter. But all of a sudden, like the bots like were just like hundreds at a time, and that protector bot you're talking about was the only one that was awesome. And even it knew who was in the chat. It was like retroactively going through and booting people out. It's like, this is a scammer. This is a scammer. I don't know how it knows, but it does.
I do much prefer interacting with the real live human beings, but I will say for the low cost of clicking a single verification, whatever the hell thing, like it was nice.
Yeah,
it was real nice. So I like it a lot. That's a good choice you got there. But for the folks at home, you guys can go to t.me/ Bitcoin strat. Dang it! I just had it and I lost it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Bitcoin strategy portal. There you guys go. So
and on Twitter, I am YellowCake.
Yes, on Twitter, I am YellowCake is where you guys can find him. I am fairly certain I have that in my. I do not. Dang it! I have fast of duels. Well, yeah. Twitter, I am YellowCake is where you can find your personal, stuff, where the folks can see all the things that you've got going on. And other than that, is there anything else new and exciting coming up in your near future, other than this?
Just my regular barbecue events. I'm as I said, like that's why I got all excited when you said cookbook, because I love cooking and I'm a smoker barbecue guy, and I'd love to go. I'd love to hook up this. My barbecue's not on a. I can put it in a trailer. I'd love to go down to Texas and do like a tour, man. And
bro, that would be awesome. We'll take you to some of the best butcher shops down here. There's some great German and Czech cooking and barbecue culture down here in Texas. You would have a good time.
I've always wanted to go. But just maybe some excellent barbecue in the future here. But other than that, just got to survive the winter here in Canada and maybe do some kiteboarding. I'm still trying to hit my 20-foot milestone, 20 feet of air, and then I'm gonna probably move on to something else.
That's quite a bit of air, broski. Yeah. I've never successfully kiteboarded. I'm more of a windsurfer myself. I enjoy the windsurfing. So I like the masts, but I don't do any of the tricks and stuff. I just try and go as fast as possible in a straight line.
Nice.
That's my gig. But cool beans. Well, it's been great having you here, Mr. YellowCake. For the folks at home who are looking to follow more of what we've got going on over here at the Degen Roundtable. You guys can catch us live from 8 to 10 o'clock Eastern every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, where we stream. On Wednesday, we talk to people, we have guests on, we talk about projects, we see how the community is doing, or we just drink and have a good time. On Friday, we cover book clubs. On this particular book club for this particular Friday, Mr. Zenith has graced us with the book called The Great Accounting Frauds, which is quite fun. That's what we're going to be covering. It's essentially just a whole bunch of stories of all the great businesses that have done accounting frauds in the last 20, 30, 40 years or something like that. So that's what we're going to be covering on this week's book club. And then the following book club, we're going to be covering Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins. So check us out on book club if you guys are interested in learning more in your Degen and crypto journey. And then on Sunday, you guys already know the Degen Roundtable, we do the news. So we cover what's been going on for the weekly amount of news in the crypto and the macroeconomic and the Bitcoin world, and sometimes even covering stuff going on in Pulse Chain. So that's what we've got going on here in the Degen Roundtable. That's what Mr. YellowCake's got going on. We want to thank you all for spending your valuable time with us here on the Degen Roundtable. As Agent Jay often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you spending that time right here with us. By the way, YellowCake, when I click the end show thing, don't run away. We'll have a post-show debrief. And
just wanted to say thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, it's an amazing show. I'm gonna tune in more often here. You guys have some amazing conversations and some interesting guests. So thank you.
Thank you, Broski. We appreciate you having on, just like we appreciate everyone spending your valuable time with us here on the Degen Roundtable. Man, where was I? Where was I in my copywriting? All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Will Stevenson, but more importantly, you have been watching the Degen Roundtable, and I'm the producer, so I need to get my own trigger finger ready because I got to click away and remind all the folks at home to remember to Degen responsibly.